Without knowing it, you're sitting on your charity's next big idea. The idea I wish I'd thought of is jargon-free. It's simple, it doesn't cost you anything, and best of all, it can be implemented by each of you. Under your chairs, you have a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper is a photograph and a quote, like this. And throughout my presentation, I'm going to show you just how powerful they can be. When I was trying to think about what I wanted to talk about today, 40 minutes before the audition closed, I turned to my fiancé who was watching Netflix and said, Paulie, what should I speak about? My mind has gone blank. And he said, well, just look through your direct debit list. You support so many charities, and just, you know, some of the charities I support in this room today, and there wasn't anything I wanted to talk about. So painfully, I decided that I was going to look through my bank statements. And I noticed that I had donated £50 to a New York school. Now, I love people, and friends of mine that are in this room will know that. Because of this, I follow a blog called Humans of New York. Now, Humans of New York is a really simple idea. It was set up by an amazing photographer called Brandon Stanton, and all he does is he posts one photograph a day with a quote underneath. And over the years, it's gathered 14 million followers. My favourite example of this is this photograph right here. And it's of a beautiful little boy crying because he's worried about what his future will be like because he's gay. Now, I don't know if there's anybody in this room from Stonewall, a charity I myself support, but I want you to think about the impact this photograph would have if you were to put it on your social media pages. A few months ago, I was online looking at Humans of New York, as I do every day. It's a daily ritual for me, and I saw this photograph. A little boy called Vidal, and Brandon, the photographer, asked Vidal who had inspired him most in his life. And without question, the little boy replied, my teacher, Miss Lopez. The reason Miss Lopez has inspired me is because she tells us that we're worth it and we're expected to achieve. She makes us stand up one by one, and she tells us why we matter. So the next day, I was online again, and I thought, oh, well, I'll check Humans of New York, and Miss Lopez appeared. And she went on to explain the challenges she faces as a principal in a school which is in a really rough neighbourhood where the community don't expect anything from the children. They're already written off, and people think that they're going to fail and they're going to end up in jail. So Brandon decided he wanted to do something, and he thought, right, okay, with Miss Lopez's help and the rest of the staff, we're going to fundraise. And we're going to fundraise for $100,000. And with that $100,000, we're going to send the children of this school to Harvard for 1 week every summer for 3 years, because we want to show them what hard work can look like and what you can achieve. So this wasn't just a photo blog anymore, and that was really exciting for me. Within the first hour, they met their target of $100,000. 4 days later, they'd raised $700,000. And 7 days after the original photograph went up, they'd raised $1.2 million. Now, Brandon's not a fundraiser. He's just a regular person that takes photographs like this. And he continued to tell the stories of these people. 1.4 million, not 1.2. So I donated to this campaign because my story was really similar to Vidal's. I'd been written off. I had a child when I was 20, a little boy who's nearly 9, and I was told that I would never achieve anything with my life because I'd had a child so young. And myself and the 51,000 donors all wanted to achieve one thing, which was to give Vidal a second chance. And it just boiled down to that one thing. We all believed in the same thing. So a few years ago, when I was fundraising at a charity, before this happened, I decided that I wanted to build an online community and build a photo blog for the charity that I was working for. But I was told we didn't do things that way and it wouldn't work, and I knew deep down that it would. So just 2 weeks ago, while I was trying to figure this presentation out, Brandon did it again, but he did it with a difference, and he showed the world that his fundraising could be repeated and it wasn't just a one-off thing. So on his holiday, when he was travelling around Iran and Pakistan, he met this lady, and her name is Fatima. Fatima's an amazing woman, and she's just done some incredible things. And she has devoted her life to trying to end brick kiln bonded labour. So again, Brandon decided to help Fatima, and he wanted to raise $100,000. And within an hour, he'd reached that. And by the end of the week, he had raised $2.3 million just by telling her story. Brandon wants us to look at the people that we might be afraid to look at. Now, your charities have people like this. It might be a child suffering with cancer. It might be a homeless person on the street. Or it might be, very recently, a little boy on a beach. Now, Andrew Hind spoke in Parliament on Tuesday and said that, and he's the incoming CEO at the FRSB, and he said that fundraising shouldn't be about transactions, it should be about engaging our donors with a cause they love. And Brandon illustrates the way that things are changing in fundraising. There's an undercurrent happening, and people are putting their Indiegogo pages up all day long. So what I wish I'd thought of was that instead of recruiting donors at 160 quid a head in the street and trying to make them feel they're a part of a community, build a community and fundraise, and change the world together. So I want all of you to go back to your charities and start building an online community, because I'm sure that you all have Facebook pages, you all have a camera, and you all have people that care about the same things as you do. Spend 30 minutes every day gathering stories, because I know they are not going to come to you, and if they do, they'll be written in PR speak and you probably won't be able to use them in this way. But the thing that I ask you to do is tell a story every day, because if you do that and you don't think about the fundraising will happen. Thank you.